everyone. Welcome to SingularDTV AMA. We are live from New York City, our office here in downtown area. This is a great week here in blockchain. We had Ethereal over the weekend. We are having consensus blockchain week. So it's a lot of buzzing activities happening here this week here in New York. And G and I are gonna talk about answer some of the questions which have received and also a few generic uh, updates. So the first and the foremost question which have come our way and seems like an underlying theme, where do you see Singular DTV 2 years from now? So it's a question about our strategy and roadmap, and we are not approaching it in a very time-bound fashion, but there are three key tenets of our strategy. Number one, that we are building our ecosystem, which comprises of our 17 decentralized apps like Toket, EtherVision, Rentalist, SingularX, Singular Social, so on and so forth. So Toket is live, EtherVision is coming out this year, and we are working on Rentalist. So in 2 to 3 years from now, or say in 2 years from now to be precise, we expect all of the basic modules to be functional and have the economy established for artists so that the value exchange can happen.
Right.
The second tenet is more in terms of setting up the singles pricing, our content and mega production. That would still be moving forward, but a lot of work to be done as we go forward.
No, I would definitely agree, and it'll be very exciting as we start to launch all of our apps and dApps that we'll be able to see this functional sort of simple version of the Singular DTV entertainment ecosystem that we can then build on top of. It looks like we've got another question about sort of upcoming roadmap and strategy, so I'll hand this one to you.
Yeah, so this question is coming from Lala Lander. And the question is, what does your dApp timeline look like? So as G and I shared, the first decentralized app coming out this year is EtherVision. We expect a private alpha coming out in late summer and a public beta happening before the end of the year, most likely December of this year. And then we are working on Rentalist. So Rentalist is right now in beta, live, off-chain, and on-chain strategy and tokenization should happen in 2018.
Yeah, and just for any of you who might be a little bit newer and who are just joining us today, EtherVision is the working title for our peer-to-peer content distribution portal. You can think of it kind of like a decentralized version of iTunes, except it'll be a lot more fun to use. And then Rentalist is our peer-to-peer equipment rental portal. It's kind of like an Airbnb style service for equipment rental and crew hiring services, so that you as an independent filmmaker or artist of any type is able to rent equipment from others, and in fact you can monetize equipment you happen to have just lying around when you yourself aren't crewing jobs. So we're very excited to be rolling that out in the New York area and then expand from there. I think so we've got a variety of questions about our apps and our ecosystem, so I think we might as well dive into these questions.
Right. I think the best way is to take them by the decentralized app as it makes sense. So let's take up all the Toket related questions. And on Toket, some of the questions which have been asked or sort of an underlying theme was there, that is it necessary for an artist to come on Toket to distribute their content? And the way we are building our ecosystem, it's necessary for an artist to have a token associated with their content so that the economy can be built around it. So Toket works as our gateway, as the rights management gateway, our entry point to the ecosystem. So artists can come on Toket. They don't need to necessarily tokenize themselves, but coming on to EtherVision Pro, which is the artist interface for EtherVision, they can distribute their content, and we will manage and track their economy or value exchange through that token, which is not necessarily tokenized.
Right. Tokens is all about rights management. So in order to take advantage of the full extent of our ecosystem, you really have to tokenize. We'll get back to Token in just a sec, but we're starting to have some live questions coming in. This one from Koma, who's asking, what's the difference between private alpha and beta? Referring, of course, to our EtherVision private alpha and beta. I think how we can think of this is the private alpha that we have coming up late summer, like Shreesh mentioned. This is for us to be able to test internally and with our creative partners, right, the artists who are already on our apps, using our ecosystem, make sure that everything's functioning the way that we'd like it to. Maybe iron out any bugs that happen to be there, yeah, before we go live with the public beta, which will be available to all of you, hopefully December this year.
Yes, and a key difference which is going to happen between an alpha and beta. In alpha, we are looking at half a dozen to dozen titles to test out the EtherVision environment, which will primarily be our original content. And then when we do the public launch, we are looking at a whole slew of token, organic content, our original content, our acquired content, and have sort of a discovery play to it, so that the users can look around the variety of the content in terms of television series, movies, audiobooks, podcasts, so on and so forth. So that's going to be quite fun and interesting going forward.
Yeah, and if you want to find out more about some of the fun and exciting exclusive content we're going to be launching with, Zach and I talked about that at Ethereal this weekend, and we'll be releasing our version of our Ethereal talk tomorrow, I believe, so stay tuned on social media. To get back to some of these questions we've got about Token, what paperwork or legal documents do you need to tokenize a project? Right. That's a good question, and it's one that I don't think there really is a one-size-fits-all answer. It really depends, what are you looking to do with this project that you're tokenizing? In some cases, you may already have a piece of content that has existing legal agreements in terms of who owns what percentage of it. It's a very straightforward process to create a token and then distribute that token pro rata to manage the revenue and royalty payments on our system. If you're looking to raise funds for a piece of content that doesn't exist yet, something new that you want to create, in that case, we would suggest that you seek counsel in whatever jurisdiction you happen to be based in. Right now, all of the regulatory framework for everything crypto related around the world is evolving in a very kind of idiosyncratic way, jurisdiction to jurisdiction. We can maybe point you in the right direction, but certainly you should seek some counsel if you're looking to raise funds.
Absolutely.
And let's see. So we've got another question here. Is there an agreement besides the smart contract? I think we touched upon that a little bit.
Yes, we did, but it's also the question of our basic philosophy. So as we are building this decentralized entertainment economy, which is our destination, and our starting point is here in the centralized world today. So the philosophy we believe in, we call it code structure. What it means is centrally organized, decentralized entity. So we are creating a bridge or a pathway from centralized world to a decentralized world. So we do require certain other paper agreements in addition to having a smart contract. Now, eventually, when the blockchain is fully implemented and we have this decentralized economy running, we will be having only the smart contracts in place, but that's the end destination for us.
Right. Did you get a chance to meet with the Open Law guys at Ethereal?
Yes, I did. It's pretty exciting.
It's one of those very exciting projects that is tackling this issue of contracts
Right.
and their relationship with smart contracts. And so I think it'll be exciting when we get to start incorporating projects like that into our own platform.
Exactly.
Looks like we've got another live question here from A289458, who's asking, what about reward bonus to single holders? I guess what reward bonus are you referring to specifically? We aren't doing ETH appreciation rewards. Instead, we're using the funds that SingularDTV raised in order to really build out this huge suite of applications with features and functionalities to mimic everything that happens in the legacy world, but in this case in a more equitable fashion on the blockchain. Instead, we're taking a different approach to rewards, which we'll be getting into a bit more. We've got some questions about the SingularX airdrop, which is going to be coming up pretty soon.
Sometime this month.
Yes. So if you're looking to claim a reward as a singles holder, something that's coming up in the immediate future, get those singles tokens into a wallet you control. Don't keep them on an exchange platform, so that way we can airdrop you your share of the SingX tokens.
Right. And importantly, you have to have an active wallet, right? So hold something in there.
Yes, that you have access to. Don't lose access to that wallet. So yes, when is the SingX token airdrop? It's going to be coming up
sometime
later this month. Definitely stay tuned on social media, because we want to make sure that we put that announcement out there and give you enough time to move your singles tokens off of centralized exchange platforms if that's where you happen to be keeping them. But we should be making an announcement about that very soon.
Right.
So
and yeah, encourage you to get on our Telegram SingularDTV account, because that's our preferred mode of communication right now to engage with our token holders and get you the latest and greatest on airdrops happening soon.
Someone just asked, is SingularDTV at Consensus? We don't have a formal presence at Consensus. We aren't making any kind of a presentation there. We are using this opportunity to meet with some of the other blockchain players who are in town, though. Inviting them down here to our office and seeing if there's any potential for collaboration.
Right.
So another question about our SingularX airdrop. How will the airdrop work? So this is coming from CryptoGal1989. So I don't know if you've experienced an airdrop before, but basically it's kind of like crypto Christmas in a way. You go to bed one evening, you wake up the next morning, and then there are new tokens in your wallet, which is super exciting. So all you have to do is stay tuned for an announcement about when we're going to take the snapshot of the Ethereum blockchain, what time we're going to list as the cutoff to get your singles tokens into a wallet that you own and control, not a centralized exchange platform. And then we take a snapshot of where all of the singles tokens are living on the Ethereum blockchain at that moment in time. Then we take all of SingularDTV's share of the SingularX tokens, and we just send you tokens to those addresses.
Yeah. Only two things needed from all token holders. Have an active digital wallet. It should be an Ethereum wallet with ERC20 tokens, multi-currency wallet functionality, so that you can receive tokens. And second, just stay plugged in with the Telegram so that you get latest and greatest, and then it will happen. And it literally means airdrops. So one fine morning, you will have a Christmas present.
Cool. Let's see. Bobak, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, is asking, are we still getting payouts in ETH, or is there a buyback? I think this is referring to ETH appreciation
Yes.
rewards,
Yeah.
which, if you've been following the recent Medium articles by our CEO and co-founder Zach LeBeau, you will know that no, we are not doing ETH appreciation rewards. Instead, we are doing things like this SingularX airdrop to find new and different ways to reward our token holders.
Right.
So I guess we've got some questions about EtherVision coming up. RxCry09 asked, how will EtherVision prevent people from uploading content that isn't theirs? Did you want to take this one?
Yeah. This is an interesting question. So let's get some basics of EtherVision or content distribution right. First off, the way we are developing our ecosystem, we will be using blockchain for payments and for authentication. All of the content delivery and content distribution happens off-chain. So the way it's being built, most of the content will be coming organically. The user content through Toket will have originals, will have acquisitions, and artists will have the functionality to upload their content through artist interface, which will be EtherVision Pro. Initially, the content will be manually curated, and then we will use the broad capability to curate the content. So the question of putting the content on blockchain does not come, because that's where the content delivery is being managed, and we will have a mechanism to be able to curate the content before the content gets published. So I hope that gives the understanding that how EtherVision is going to operate in future.
Right. So you can think of EtherVision, though we're using decentralized technologies in order to deliver files to you, it itself is only using blockchain for payment channels, essentially. And so that way, if there is any concern about copyright infringement or anything like that, we do have the ability to remove that content from our platform. And this goes back to what Shreesh was saying earlier, that yes, that's not 100% decentralized yet, but we have to be cognizant and recognize the technical and legal limitations of where this technology is today as we strive to realize that fully decentralized future.
Right. And I would say that getting to a fully decentralized blockchain-based operating system is a destination for us. And the way the technology is evolving, our regulations are evolving, and our understanding is evolving, it may take us few years to get to that destination.
Yes. So please please be patient and enjoy this journey with us.
Yeah.
So Koma has asked another question. Any next group of artists coming to Toket? Well, we do have some interesting projects coming up, but one of the really wonderful things about Toket is it is a decentralized platform. So any artist from around the world, regardless of whether it's somebody that we personally want to work with or they're just somebody who's really passionate about taking back control of and managing their rights, they can come on board our platform. And we see new projects going up there pretty much every day. I would say check in the Toket gallery pretty frequently to see some of the updates and interesting new projects coming down the line.
Yeah. Since we talked about the new group of artists, I would also like to give an update on our mega production nodes.
Oh, sure.
So we had our Singular Japan regional node launch 2 months ago, and we raised an entertainment fund to create Japanese content to be consumed by Japanese audiences globally. So now we have the first wave of artists being developed, which will be developing Japanese content in Tokyo, Japan. And likewise, we have plans to keep developing these mega production nodes in addition to our originals and acquisitions, which will come to EtherVision via Toket interface.
And it's also useful to point out that this strategy, our regional mega production nodes, is something that we are using to decentralize decision-making power at SingularDTV. We're setting up these autonomous arts funds around the world so that it's not just us here in this office deciding what type of content we make, but rather artists who are working locally in the languages and cultures of these production nodes to create some really cool stuff that we wouldn't have found otherwise.
Yes.
Let's see. Terry Keys asked on Instagram, when is it going to be ready? I'm not sure exactly what it is referring to, if it's this fully...
I think it's about EtherVision, or...
about, perhaps, or perhaps when is all of it going to be done?
All right, so all of it, as I said, it's going to take us few years, easily, to get to a point where we can have the entire ecosystem functioning. We have 17 modules, and we are working on them bit by bit and releasing them. And just to put it in the context, we are talking about developing an alternate entertainment economy on blockchain, which is itself developing, and trying to replicate a parallel centralized legacy entertainment economy, which took hundreds of years to come to this point. So it's gonna take us few years before we get there. But yes, EtherVision is coming out in few months.
Yeah, that'll be the private alpha version again that we'll have ready sometime late summer, and then the public beta version that all of you will be able to use coming out around December this year. Let's see. Is it possible to remove content from the blockchain? What if I want to remove my project from the blockchain? I think, Shreesh, you've basically answered this one already. The content itself is not going to live on the blockchain. So it'll be living on the platform, so you can simply pull it from the platform. We can't put movies on the blockchain. I think if we took a full feature-length film in 4K, that file would probably be larger than the list of every single transaction that's happened on the Ethereum blockchain to date.
Yeah, and just to give everyone an idea, the entire Bitcoin blockchain transactions to date are in the range of 100 gigabytes. So this is practically not possible, given where the protocols are today, that we can put any of the content on the blockchain. It will just simply kill the transaction processing ability of the protocols. So this gets answered the way we are framing our strategy, that all of the content is going to happen off-chain.
Bobak, again, I'm apologizing if I'm mispronouncing your name, has another question. Why did it take a year to get an official Telegram chat? I think last year we were really focusing more with Slack as our way of communicating with our audience. We've since changed strategies. Slack is something that we're using more for internal work and business communication, and so we're looking for other platforms to talk to you guys. So we've got Telegram now, as it's one that's proven to be quite popular. We also have Discord, so please join us and come chat with us and the rest of the community on both of these platforms. Rumble Music X is asking, how will people use blockchain to release movies and protect copyright?
I think this also we answered in a way by talking about the framework we are operating with. So since the content is going to be on the platform off-chain, we will have the DRM capability infused with the smart contract functionality to take care of the copyrights issues, both for music, television, movies, all sorts of content, and using the same framework.
Another question from Bobak. Thank you for asking so many questions. Do you ever expect to be listed on Bittrex again? I think we can't really speculate as to what Bittrex's business plans and future is going to look like, so we're just going to have to see what happens.
Right.
Matt is asking, in the face of the huge success of today's streaming services, how does SingularDTV plan to make consuming content on Ethervision as convenient as possible?
Right. I think we are dealing it in a variety of ways. Right. The first off, though we are building this on blockchain, we are dissociating the payment transaction with cryptocurrencies. So first off, as a consumer, when you come on to Ethervision, you will have the flexibility to either pay in fiat or in cryptocurrencies. So it will be absolutely seamless for the content consumers. Second, we are going to be completely different when it comes to creating values for the artist. So there is a direct value exchange which is happening from the content consumer to the artist. And this will be on the blockchain as a payment. So it will be completely transparent and open so they can see that each and every dollar from the content consumer is going to artist and in what shape and form. Third, in terms of consumer experience, we are working on developing Ethervision in a way that the consumers will have an Apple iTunes kind of experience. And fourth, when we talk about the variety of the content, we are taking a path which will make the content discoverable. So content consumers will have to go through the discovery of the content, and the content is not siloed by the nature of the content. So depending on the preferences and choice, they will be able to consume the content while having the variety of the content. So
Right.
I would say that it would be unfair to compare Ethervision with Netflix or Facebook or with iTunes. Ethervision is gonna be very different on its own and will have a very different experience both in terms of content and creating the value exchange between the consumer and artist.
Yeah, and I think that that content discoverability feature
Yeah.
that you just mentioned, Shreesh, that I think is one of the coolest features of Ethervision
Right.
because it's super consumer friendly. It's something where you'll be able to go on our platform and you can find new movies next to music, next to books. It's your one-stop shop for all types of content that you'd like to find as a fan. It also enables artists who are working across multiple disciplines to be able to distribute all of their content in one place, which is kind of absurd to me that such a thing has not existed until
Yes.
this point.
Yeah.
Let's see. So I think this is something that we've maybe just answered, but the Cryptical is asking, how will Ethervision differ from streaming services like Netflix?
Right. I think we did answer this question.
We did.
Yeah, at length. So
One
Sure,
point
sure.
I would add here though is when we talk about our public beta version that's going to be available in December, that version is going to support downloads similar to how iTunes would. So it supports downloads and then it's a player. Streaming is something that we're going to phase in a little bit further down the line with version 1.0. Could you speak a little bit to that
Yes.
that development, Shreesh?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are working on developing the version one, which is more in terms of a conceptual phase right now. We are thinking of having a mobile-based application which will have the similar features like Netflix, both with legacy content as well as our original and acquired content. And that's likely to happen sometime next year. In terms of exact date and time, we are still working through that because we are right now in conceptualizing the framework with which we want to come out with.
Right, we're heads down working on our MVP beta version
Right.
to get it into your hands, and then we're going to add all of these features and functionalities over time. So we've got another live question coming in here. Clearly, with a Q.com is asking, hello, do you guys plan to integrate anything for licensing during the beta, for remixes, video soundtracks, etc.? I think licensing for us is a slightly more complicated
Right.
thing because it's something where our platform is not taking the license for your content. Like if you were to list
Right.
it on an iTunes, iTunes would actually hold the license for that content and it sublicenses it to iTunes users. With Ethervision, what's going to happen is we can have artists basically self-publish their content on our distribution portal, and that way they can license it directly to the fans, to the consumers.
Right, right. Yeah, and if it is about the legacy content, we are working on having our distribution agreements, which are amenable to blockchain in terms of, their pre-existing distribution agreements and so on and so forth, so that we can bring legacy content in addition to originals and acquisitions and organic content.
And we still do have some live questions coming in, but I think we're just about to run out of time, though.
Yeah.
So I'm very sorry, guys. Please continue asking these questions so that we can get to them on our next AMA. But thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. I'm G. Thomas Esmay, SingularDTV's Director of Business Development.
And I'm Shreesh Tiwari. I'm the Chief Strategic Officer of SingularDTV. And we both thank you for listening in. And stay tuned. More is coming your way soon.
Lots of exciting updates. Enjoy the rest of Blockchain Week.
Thank you.